Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I've been looking at the latest General Hospital spoilers for the week of June 29 through July 3, and it sounds like Port Charles is heading straight into chaos. Between Cullum's brutal arrest, dangerous escape plans, and growing trouble at the PCPD, there's no shortage of drama on the horizon. What really caught my attention, though, is the possibility that some of Port Charles's biggest schemers may finally see their plans fall apart. If these spoilers are any indication, this is going to be a tense and action-packed week that fans won't want to miss. First, the first storyline that really caught my attention involves Willow, and I have to say, she may be walking straight into a nightmare she never saw coming. From what I'm seeing, Drew isn't holding back anymore. When he was questioned about Jordan's accident, he pointed the finger directly at Willow, putting her in an incredibly difficult position. Now, I can already imagine Willow insisting that she wasn't anywhere near Highway 91 when Jordan's crash happened. The problem is that facts and appearances are two very different things in Port Charles. Even if Willow is telling the truth, the GPS evidence could end up making her look guilty. That's where things get messy. What makes this situation even more fascinating is that Brick's involvement in tampering with Willow's GPS records may give Drew exactly the ammunition he needs. For a moment, Brooke Lynn may think her plan is working perfectly. She may believe she has finally outsmarted Willow and gained the upper hand. But if there's one thing I've learned from watching General Hospital over the years, it's that secrets rarely stay buried. Brooke Lynn seems to be forgetting one very important detail: Chase. I just don't see him abandoning Willow when she needs help the most. In fact, I think these accusations could push him to investigate even harder. And if Chase starts pulling on the right thread, the entire scheme could begin to unravel. The closer he gets to clearing Willow's name, the greater the chance that he discovers evidence leading back to Brooke Lynn. That's why I have a feeling this plan is already doomed. Brooke Lynn may be celebrating now, but I wouldn't get too comfortable if I were her. In Port Charles, victory has a way of turning into disaster when you least expect it. Second, one storyline I'm especially happy to see involves Trina finally putting herself first for a change. After everything she's been forced to deal with because of the constant drama surrounding Curtis and Portia, I think she has earned the right to focus on her own future. Sometimes the best thing a young person can do is step away from family conflicts and chase their own dreams, and that's exactly what Trina appears ready to do. From where I'm sitting, this upcoming performance with Gio could be a major turning point. They're not just playing music for fun anymore. They're preparing to perform in front of influential music executives, which means real opportunities could be on the line. I love seeing stories like this because they remind us that not every battle in Port Charles has to involve crime, betrayal, or revenge. Sometimes success, ambition, and personal growth can be just as exciting. Of course, nothing stays simple for long in this town. As Gio becomes more involved in the music world, he's also strengthening his connection with Brooke Lynn. That might seem like a positive development at first, but I can't help thinking that Brooke Lynn's actions against Willow are going to cast a shadow over everything. Secrets have a way of resurfacing at the worst possible moment, especially when someone believes they've gotten away with something. That's why I have a feeling the clock is already ticking. Brooke Lynn may not realize it yet, but the fallout from her scheme could threaten far more than her reputation. Her marriage to Chase appears to be heading toward a painful crossroads, and Gio could find himself caught in the middle of problems he never expected. What should be an exciting new chapter for Trina and Gio may end up unfolding alongside the collapse of relationships that once seemed unbreakable. Finally, the storyline unfolding at Windermere is easily one of the most intense developments heading into this new week, and I have to admit, I found myself feeling a little relieved when I saw the indication that Britt is going to survive. For a while now, it has felt like the danger surrounding her has been getting worse with every episode. The stakes have been incredibly high, and there were moments when it seemed as though she might not make it out alive. Thankfully, survival appears to be in the cards for Britt, but if there's one thing General Hospital has taught me over the years, it's that surviving the crisis is often only the beginning. The emotional scars, the unanswered questions, and the consequences of everything that happened can sometimes be even more difficult than the danger itself. At the same time, I don't think the younger generation is going to escape this storyline without facing some serious risks. Danny and Charlotte seem determined to take action against Ross Cullum, but that's exactly what worries me. Courage is admirable, but Cullum is not the kind of enemy who makes mistakes easily. He's dangerous, calculating, and always seems to have a backup plan. The closer Danny and Charlotte get to whatever scheme they're planning, the greater the chance that they could end up directly in the crosshairs. What begins as an effort to stop a villain could quickly spiral into a fight for survival if Cullum realizes he's being challenged. Then we have Carly and Lucas, who appear ready to launch a desperate mission of their own. Honestly, this feels like classic General Hospital storytelling at its best. Two people driven by love and loyalty, willing to put themselves in harm's way to save someone they care about. Once they make their move inside Windermere, I expect things to become chaotic very quickly. Rescue missions never go according to plan in Port Charles. Doors get locked, enemies show up unexpectedly, secret passages lead to new problems, and every victory seems to create another obstacle. That's exactly why I think this storyline is going to keep viewers glued to their screens. What excites me the most is that Jocelyn doesn't appear willing to wait around for someone else to rescue her. That's one of the qualities I admire most about her character. Even when she's trapped, cornered, or facing impossible odds, she keeps fighting. According to these spoilers, Jocelyn may become a crucial piece of the effort to finally bring down Cullum. And when you think about what's at stake, it makes perfect sense. If Cullum escapes with the cold fusion research, the consequences could be enormous. Jocelyn understands that better than anyone, which means she has every reason to risk everything to stop him before he disappears. I can already imagine the tension building as Cullum realizes that the walls are closing in around him. The more desperate he becomes, the more dangerous he is likely to be. That's why I expect the confrontation to be brutal and unpredictable. Nobody is going to walk away from this battle unchanged. Whether it's physical injuries, emotional trauma, or relationships being tested under pressure, the fallout could affect Port Charles long after Cullum's story reaches its climax. Meanwhile, another storyline that has really captured my attention involves Cassius Faison, the man connected to the Nathan West identity. There is something deeply emotional about a character realizing that time is running out and that escape may be the only option left. From the way these spoilers are shaping up, Cassius seems to understand that staying where he is could lead to disaster. Yet despite all the risks surrounding him, his heart may pull him in a completely different direction. That's why the possibility of Cassius risking everything for one final goodbye with James feels so powerful. As a father, or even just as someone who understands the importance of family, it's easy to see why that choice would be almost impossible to resist. Logic may tell him to run immediately, but emotions rarely follow logic. Sometimes people make dangerous decisions because they need closure, because they need one last moment with someone they love, or because they simply can't leave without saying goodbye. Those are often the moments that create the strongest emotional scenes on this show. Looking at all these storylines together, I get the feeling the General Hospital is preparing for a week filled with non-stop tension. We have rescue missions, dangerous confrontations, desperate escapes, family bonds being tested, and villains who are becoming increasingly cornered. Every storyline seems to be moving toward a major turning point at the same time. The closer we get to these episodes, the more it feels like the writers are building towards several explosive moments that could reshape multiple lives in Port Charles. For fans who enjoy suspense, emotional drama, and shocking twists, the week of June 29 through July 3 looks like it could deliver all three in a big way. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the consequences from these events continue to ripple through Port Charles for many weeks after the dust finally settles.